Hey folks, how's it going? Not so beautiful day in the Rockies. Second day of summer, freezing fucking cold. Anywho, I just wanted to do a little review of an end of life review of the Potensic Atom SE. This was my first really usable drone, and it was basically my trainer. And it still works, it still flies. And the problem is just that, do this here. I had a really light crash. Jesus. I had a really light crash. And I thought I could take off again. There we go. And when I powered up and tried to throttle up, it hit a little branch or something. And took out this motor bell. So it's going to fall out of the sky one day. And obviously that can't happen in parks where I fly, or over people or traffic or animals, or really anywhere that might catch fire. So basically, yeah, this drone, it's probably got over 1,000 kilometers on it. I didn't really keep track of my kilometers so much, but what I did keep track of is the battery cycles, which you can pretty much kind of work the math out. So each battery has 267 cycles on it, which is almost unheard of. The gimbal still works great. I have crashed this thing no less than 50 times, I'm sure. Just in all the different low altitude and tight maneuvering stuff I've been practicing, and I've also got rigged up so I can drop. So I've practiced pickups and drops and this and that, and you know, it's been an adventure. It's definitely been a learning curve. I just think that this is actually maybe one of the best drones you could get if it's your first drone. You hear stuff like, and it does look funner, and maybe it's a little bit funner to fly in tight spots or FPV style. Like you hear, like the Neo, for example, is a great beginner drone. But I am about to send my second Neo away. My first one flew away while I was trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with it, and it just turned out to be a function of it, how it's programmed. Basically, it would try and land if it went over a log or a bar or anything like that, too low. And then, of course, it would crash because it was too low for you to react, and the motor would shut off as soon as it felt the resistance of the log or bar or whatever. Anyways, it was kind of weird, and trying to figure it out, and it literally just flew away on me. So I had to pay full price on that. Long story short, the Neo is kind of not known to be very good at night, so I got the night lights for it, top and bottom. And it was doing okay, and then as I was bringing it in, I purposely went at full throttle from quite a distance, but then I let off also from quite a distance, and it just kept going. And I guess what happened is, just as it was coming in, it flipped over into ADI mode, and that's something the Neo does a lot when you're flying, especially at night. It'll just flip back and forth between ADI mode and GPS, so that's okay at height, but it's not great down low. And then there's a bunch of other little quirks to it too, so I don't actually think the Neo is a great drone for beginners at all. And also, like, the cost of having the whole Neo thing, it's kind of astounding for what it can actually do. Anyway, this is not about the Neo. I'm just using it as an example. There are other drones that are probably just as bad or much worse that are built as beginner drones, including all the toys, right? But yeah, if you're looking to get your kid or yourself something to really learn with that's going to treat them well. Now, I have broken both of the arms on this, but I mean, it's taken quite a lot, and it took the fixes quite well, because now it crashes and doesn't break ever. So, and like I said, the crash, the final thing that it kind of made this drone qualify for the retirement bench is not crashing itself. It was taking off, because the crash itself was just basically got pulled into some leaves, and I dropped down. I thought, okay, well, I mean, I only dropped 3-4 inches, and then I was doing some trail work with the drone, meaning I was like scanning trails. Anyways, so it only dropped a few inches. I thought, okay, no problem. I'll just fire her back up, and I could hear it from all the way down there that it hit this little branch or something, and I didn't really think too much of it, but when I went up to grab it, yeah, it was pretty obvious that the motor housing was quite bad. It still flies. It still goes 4 kilometers. It still transmits great image. It works on a 32-bit phone or device, which is really important. The Neo, another thing, go back to it just as an example, but another thing that makes the Neo not such a great beginner drone is you pretty much need $1,000 phone to run it. You need to have a 64-bit phone or device. And as I recently found out, that can be kind of hard to find used, cheap, in decent condition. So the Atom 2 also actually requires a 64-bit phone. And if you're doing any sort of up-close work, I don't know if this is all the Atom 2s, but this Atom 2, I got a replacement for this, by the way, the Atom 2. The Atom 2 has a hard time focusing really close up. So, for example, this sign here, I could probably read, but like a cardboard box that I had on my table, I could not read it. Whereas this one, you could read it. So what that means is that if you're flying anywhere where there might be little sticks or branches as you're getting used to stuff, this one's more than likely going to pick up the things that are up close to you. Whereas the Atom 2 might not. Now, I could be mistaken about that. It could be an error with this drone. Potensic is on holiday for a week for their Dragon Boat Festival, I believe. So I'm just waiting to hear back from them and see what they say about the images I send. But yeah, no, I would really recommend this one. It's got great battery life, and the actual lifespan of the batteries is just almost unheard of. I mean, even DJI only expects 200 cycles out of their batteries, I guess. The props, pretty durable and quite affordable. I mean, I replace my props quite often on this. There's a couple little negatives. It tends to get into what's called toilet bowl effect. At least mine does sometimes, which can be a bit nerve-wracking. But and then the other thing is that the app that runs it isn't necessarily great. Even though it's a 32-bit app, it's not necessarily great on actual 32-bit devices all the time. So I've got a tablet that's a 64-bit architecture, but then running 32-bit software for some stupid reason that they do on a lot of these tablets. And it'll run the Potensic Pro app, but it doesn't always do it well. Now, if I run the same app on 64, it seems to work great. So even though the 64-bit warns you that there might be issues, it doesn't seem to. So the app is not fantastic, but it is pretty intuitive and straightforward, easy to use. And if you contact care through the app, they usually reply within 24 hours, which is really nice. They also actually, because they're in China, they are working on a different schedule. And so if, let's say, you have a problem at 6 p.m., and you send your request for assistance, they'll be getting back to you by 2:30 a.m. kind of thing. So if they're not too busy, anyways. So yeah, no, I really like this. Potensic seems to be a really great company, and I'm not saying that other companies are not. I had a bad experience, but I mean, they've got a great reputation. So my one experience, and for some reason, being the shit magnet I am, I get a lot of bad experiences. So, I mean, it's just, if you want to find out the worst side to a company, send me in. I don't fucking know. But Potensic has treated me really well. And I'll give you an example is, the connectivity issue I was just kind of describing on the older tablet. They actually thought it might be the USB cable, so they just sent me one for free. Just to rule it out, which was awesome. And it's not a very big expense, but for them to just be like, just give us your address and then try this is pretty awesome. Whereas, anyways, yeah, other experiences were not like that at all. So Potensic, for the customer care, I give them, 10 out of 10. I've seen other stories where people weren't as satisfied. I kind of wonder if they were just emailing or using the app to get a hold of them. I don't know. And then the drone itself, the hardware is well, I want to say 10 out of 10, but I mean, maybe it's a 9 out of 10. I say 10 out of 10 because of toughness, but then other people say 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 because of design being a bit older and blocky and stuff like that. But I mean, honestly, the toughness is there. So, yeah. And like, it's come down pretty hard a bunch of times, and it hasn't broken at the tips at all. Anything like that. It literally just, right here is kind of a weak point on any drone built like this, right? And then, the images coming out of it, I mean, they're not pro images for sure, but I'm also not a pro photographer, and I actually know relatively little about photography or videography. I just do a lot of it. I don't fucking know what I'm doing though. I'm starting to learn though, because some of my interests with the drones kind of force you to have good images to work with. So I mean, I know now that the images coming out of this are not as good as other stuff. Like even the Atom 2, with some of the P-log or whatever it is going to get you better images than this. The Neo is probably about on par. They're similar cameras, but I mean, I've done some pretty decent videos with these, and got some great pictures. So I don't think you'll be disappointed. I mean, just consider it kind of like cell phone quality, or maybe a little bit better, if you use the settings that not all phones have. I guess most phones probably do now. But anyways, you know what I mean. Okay, cool. Well, this is going on for long enough. Big thanks to Potensic for making something for me to learn with. I had started with another company originally, and it was an absolute nightmare, and that the company's out of business. So I mean, I didn't realize they had buying into this stuff, but then I got the Potensic, and everything was smooth sailing from there pretty much. So big thanks to Potensic for everything, and I'm gonna put that Atom 2 to good work. I actually have a replacement for this coming. Because this actually gets longer battery life. That's something I should have mentioned, sorry, before I sign out here. This actually gets a longer battery, like flight time, than the other Atoms. I think it's not as loaded down, and it has a slightly larger battery than, for example, the Atom 2. So you're going to do a little bit better for flight time as well on this. I think when I say loaded down, I mean software-wise, burning up resources, which is energy, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, thanks a lot to Potensic. It's a fantastic product, and I honestly hope you don't stop making these, because I think this is probably the ultimate beginner drone. If a guy like me ramming it into things left and right can still basically fly it when it's time to retire it. And I've been going since like August or September on this, almost every day in one way or another. So I think that they should really consider keeping this one on the market. But anyway, yeah. Okay, well, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.